when we talk about water. The ministry, this conference is coming at a time when the ministry has put a lot of efforts towards achieving several sustainable development goals, key among them being the access to water, clean water, and also zero hunger, and also the climate change. But the biggest challenge we've had has been the issue of climate change. When we talk about agriculture in the country, agriculture is one of the biggest contributors to our GDP. Currently, in our GDP, 21.8%, agriculture contributes 21.8% of our GDP. And through other value chains, agriculture, through the input and output value chains, agriculture contributes another 27%, meaning agriculture in a nutshell contributes approximately 49% of our GDP. So that's key. But the biggest challenge of agriculture is the effects of climate change. And towards combating that, to mitigate that risk, we need to do irrigation. And for us to have irrigation, to do irrigation in a sustainable way, water becomes key. And that's why I say this conference is coming at a very good time when we are trying to enhance, when the ministry is trying to enhance collaboration so that we can increase investments in investments that will help us have sustainable infrastructure. Recently, last year, the State Department of Water launched NAWASIP, an investment plan geared towards water investments. The last 1 month, State Department of Irrigation also launched NISIP, also a plan that envisages to add an additional 1 million acres, so as we can be able to put the country irrigation, so as we can be able to put the total potential total area under irrigation in the country to approximately 1.7, which will take us to at least 50% of the irrigation potential in the country. But for us to be able to do this, water harvesting becomes key. And for us to do that, we realize that the government development partners cannot be able to do that alone. And that's why such conferences are good when we all converge here, so that we can collaboratively see how can we be able to harness this key resource, which in the country, we don't have a physical shortage. What we have is an economic shortage requires investment finance. And the investments, we may no longer be able to depend with the government exchequer, because as you know, on average, in our GDP, the income that we generate is around 16% of our GDP. We may not be sufficient to help us build some of these long-term infrastructures, and such like the dams. So this calls for collaboration with the private parties, calls for collaboration even at individual level, and for that, we need such conferences whereby we are able to articulate and share our vision, so that together we can be able to build a food secure country, we can be able to build a good economy which can also create jobs, and so that you can also be able to live in a sustainable manner. The other thing that is key for this conference is, when we talk about sustainability, is protection of our water towers. And this is all a joint effort, starting from our own individual farms back at home, because the one thing starts for protection is actually how we do conservation. So conservation is key, is going to be a key driver, because our rivers have been, our rivers have actually suffered a lot because of because of the competing interest when it comes to conservation and utilization of our land. So we are looking forward to more collaborations and more investment opportunities on how we can be able to harness this key resource called water. So I welcome you all to this conference. I take this opportunity now to welcome the MD as he comes to do the set pacing. Karibu sana MD. Thank you.
Our keynote speaker, Engineer Murithi Muga, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Water, Sanitation, and Irrigation. Principal Secretaries present, CEOs of various organizations, our esteemed speakers, our valued partners, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm Jambo. First of all, to say that we are very delighted as a Nation Media Group to be a key partner to the ministry in this key sector. The water sector, as I'm coming to learn now, is a very, the only thing that will be here until the Lord comes is water. And so with that means we need to have this conversation about what we do in the water sector so that our Kenyan people can know that their water is secure and that there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. So it's a great honor to welcome you to this inaugural Water, Sanitation and Irrigation Conference. Thank you for taking your time off your busy schedules to be part of this timely event. Your presence reflects shared commitment to securing one of humanity's most vital resources, which is water. We are truly honored as a Nation Media Group to host this conference in partnership with the Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, alongside various stakeholders in the water sector. Indeed, this moment marks a significant milestone in our collective efforts to address the pressing water and sanitation challenges facing our nation. It also reaffirms our enduring commitment as a media house to positively influence society, a core tenet of our existence. Ladies and gentlemen, this conference, which is themed Sustainable Water Sanitation and Irrigation Management Solutions, Collaborate, Innovate, and Transform, could not be more timely. While we often say water is life, the reality is that millions across the country and the world still lack access to clean water and safe sanitation. There is no doubt that significant strides have been made in the water sector over the years, and to steadily transform the way and so there's need for us to steadily transform the way we manage, distribute, and consume water. These reforms have notably improved service delivery, and particularly in the rural areas. I'm particularly glad that the Ministry of Water and Sanitation and Irrigation, in collaboration with its partners, have been at the forefront of implementing impactful water projects across the country. Waziri, I commend you and your team for these continued efforts. I think in the last few weeks, as we build the momentum towards the conference, I've learned a lot as I watch those discussions, and I must say, it's a very, you've got a very strong team, given the various discussions I've had on our channels. Ladies and gentlemen, these challenges before us remain formidable. Climate change is disrupting rainfall patterns. Rapid population growth is increasing irrigation, is increasing demand. Pollution continues to degrade our already stressed water resources. This conference therefore presents an opportunity for us all to move beyond conversations and towards actions. As a media house, we recognize that our role extends beyond reporting. We are the catalysts of change, educators of the public, and watchdogs for accountability. Most water crises stem from lack of awareness. We are proud to have partnered with many of you in these sectors to drive public awareness on these critical issues. Our commitment takes three forms. First, public education. By utilizing our platforms to showcase both successful initiatives and ongoing challenges, we spread knowledge of best practices in water and sanitation management, as well as innovation in sustainable irrigation technologies. To this end, we have a robust sustainability desk that is responsible for documenting the impact of climate change through powerful, human-centered storytelling. Last year, we launched Earthwise Mitaani, a weekly TV and digital show focused on environmental awareness and sustainability at the grassroots level. Secondly, is advocacy through thought leadership. In this front, we leverage our agenda-setting role to shape public opinion and drive political will. Through forums like this, we bring together diverse voices to tackle climate change and water challenges. Over the last 2 years, we have hosted Earthwise Summit, a platform dedicated to exploring bold and innovative sustainability solutions. Thirdly, we hold power to account. As you know, the Nation Media Group has a strong tradition of investigative journalism. We have exposed cases of water management, mismanagement, pollution, and corruption, spurring corrective action and policy reform. This transparency is vital to ensuring that resources allocated to water and sanitation are used effectively and equitably. We therefore are not just observers in this journey, we are active participants. This conference, the first of its kind, is a testament of our commitment. It is a space where public, private sector, and government can come together to engage directly with the water sector, stakeholders, and drive actionable solutions that will advance the sector. As I conclude, I sincerely thank you for your support and enthusiasm. We have a full room, CS. In fact, we had to put a stamp that it's closed. No more registrations. The level of interest in this conference has been truly remarkable. In fact, pointing to one of our most successful conferences and pointing to the relevance of this conversation. It is my hope that at the end of the day, we will have built collaborative bridges, ignited fresh ideas, and inspired bold actions that will shape the water, sanitation, and the future of water, sanitation, and irrigation in Kenya and beyond. Let us leave this space not just informed, but more energized, motivated, and ready to implement the solutions we discuss. Let us hold ourselves and each other accountable to the commitments we make today. I wish you all a fruitful deliberation, and thank you very much for partnering with the Nation Media Group. As I always say, media is your friend. Thank you very much.
He's quite a tall fella, our new GMD, so I have to turn it down. Now, following suit, kindly let's welcome PS Julius Corrier, who's the Principal Secretary for Water and Sanitation, to give an overview of the conference objectives and expected outcomes.
Honorable CS, Engineer Eric Muga, CEO, Bwana Odundo, my colleague PS, Chairman of our agencies within the water sector, the CEOs, colleagues, and stakeholders who are with us. It's a great pleasure to have you standing here and looking at a full room. When we were walking in, it was like walking through a maze as we were coming through the exhibition, and it is exceeded my expectations. So I really want to thank the organizers for this wonderful planned and organized conference. Mine is just to give an overview of the conference objectives and what we expect at the end of the day. So as has been said by earlier speakers, water is critical, not only for supporting life, but also in serving the broader role of facilitating economic development, job creation, and overall societal well-being. As you all know, in Kenya, water access is constitutional. The drafters of our constitution made it certain that water was a right, and that every Kenyan has a right to clean, adequate, and safe water, and also sanitation. And also food security is another guarantee that the Constitution gives. So the water sector is the facilitator of all those three. The Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, in partnership with the various stakeholders, have been implementing various water, sanitation and irrigation projects in the country, recognizing the need for meaningful stakeholder engagement in tackling critical challenges in water resources management and sustainable development. The ministry has partnered with the Nation Media Group and other water sector stakeholders to hold this water, sanitation, and irrigation conference. I think rightly, as the CEO for Nation has said, that media can be a friend, and I think in this case, they have demonstrated very well that they are they are a friend and they want to amplify the good work that we are doing as a ministry, and at the same time also amplify the challenges and rally everyone to the achievement. This conference aims to promote innovative ideas and drive actionable solutions for advancement of the water, sanitation, and irrigation sectors. Through this conference also, we'll be able to highlight key achievements, highlight also the challenges, and then rally all the stakeholders to the achievement or to accelerate achievement within the water, sanitation, and irrigation sector. This is in line with the Sustainable Development Goal number 2 on food security, and also goal number 6, which focuses on ensuring access to clean water and sanitation for all. The forum, running concurrently as a conference and an expo, aims at providing a platform for the public to engage with the water sector stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, the objectives of this conference are: 1, to create a platform to engage collaboration between government and the private sector players in the water, sanitation, and irrigation sector. Enhance public understanding of and support of sustainable water and sanitation initiatives, as well as renewable irrigation, that is agriculture through irrigation. Number 3 is to provide a platform for public dialogue on policy implementation on sustainable water management, drought mitigation, and water reforms. And number 4 is to nurture and showcase innovative water management technologies and public and private investment opportunities that enhance service delivery. So 9 key topics of discussions during the conference are: 1, sustainable water resource management; 2 is financing and investment in water infrastructure, particularly the PPPs, which we are inviting the private sector to play a role. Number 3 is drought mitigation measures. Number 4 is water pollution management. 5, irrigation management. 6, research, innovation, and technology. And number 8 is climate change. And lastly, water catchment protection. These are organized in panel discussions and as contained in the events program. The expected outcome are as follows: 1 is to obtain feedback from the public on delivery of service and ways to enhance performance of the sector. 2, to encourage public participation by having the public more engaged in management of the water resources. And lastly, and establish a sustainable public-private partnership framework in the sector. So those are the expected outcomes, and I just want to reiterate that we appreciate each one of you for making it here. We ask that you tell us what you want to see things look like in the future and how we can all accelerate the achievement of the water coverage and sanitation, and also increasing irrigated land so that we can be food secure as a country. So thank you so much. I now want to take this opportunity to invite our Cabinet Secretary to give his keynote address as we move on to the next year. Karibu sir.
Hey, PS, wewe ni mrefu sana. I have to adjust the mic. So thank you so much, and thank you for coming. When I walked in, and my team had briefed me that the event is closed. So I'm just checking to see whether there is an empty chair somewhere. Well done, well done. Well done. Well, the idea of us having this event today is when I came to the ministry, one of my people told me that the Ministry of Water does not engage the media very often. And then I had the CEO and the MD, Bwana Geoffrey, say that the media is your friend. So is that a question? Was it a rhetorical statement? Maybe you will clarify. And we all appreciate what the media does, especially in a democratic country. The media shapes narratives. The media educates, the media informs, and also the media is a watchman. I don't want to say a watchdog. Especially investigative journalism. But the media also has a responsibility to tell the truth. So this event of the Ministry of Water, in partnership with National Media Group, I am here to place it on matters: one, friendship; on matters two, is this just for today? Ama hii ikipita we are finished? Because we need to have this conversation. The Ministry of Water does so much. Water is life. And PS, allow me to actually put this across, that we are also friends to the media. We have that responsibility because the much we do, the impact we have on ground on water, sanitation, and irrigation, and especially now that the sitting government, the Kenya Kwanza government, one of the better agendas is agriculture. And over-reliance on rain-fed agriculture has been unpredictable. It is time for us to have this conversation. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, my PSAs, the CEO, our development partners in the House, the chairman, and the CEOs here in very good suits, all invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, good morning, and thank you so much for coming. It is an honor today for me to have you in this conference with a theme that is as clear as day: sustainable water solutions, collaborate, innovate, and transform. The word collaborate is, we are not here to tell you. Apart from informing you on what the ministry is doing, we are also here to get feedback. And I'll be very keen on those panel discussions, because that is where we get the actual feedback from the people that we serve. Over the years, the water sector has seen great progress towards our main goal, that is to ensure that every Kenyan has a right to access clean and safe water in adequate quantities, reasonable standards of sanitation, freedom from hunger, and access to adequate food for acceptable quality, and to support the country's development agenda of the year 2030. The ministry is committed to the long-term vision of ensuring universal water and sanitation by the year 2030. That is by contributing towards ending hunger and achieving food security through irrigated agriculture and securing water availability for all uses for current and future generations. Ladies and gentlemen, in this regard, in the last 2.5 years, joint development efforts have resulted in improvement of water and sanitation coverage from 70% to 73% nationally, while improved sanitation access rose to 69% from an average of 67%. On irrigation, 83,000 acres have been put under irrigation in this period, resulting in an increase of rice production by around 100,000 metric tons. Despite a modest increase in water storage, with 35 million meter cubic achieved against a 2024 target of 200 million, the ministry remains focused on reaching the 14 billion cubic meters by the year 2030. However, we acknowledge the challenge of non-revenue water, which currently stands at around 43%. Nonetheless, the efforts such as establishment of the water police unit in our county governments, disconnection of more than 800 illegal connections, and dissemination of management standards are yielding results, including revenue savings to a tune of 2 billion Kenya shillings. Despite this and other achievements, the sector still faces several challenges, not only locally, but also externally. The global socio-economic uncertainties that we are facing in the modern world have led to delayed implementation of projects and increased cost of infrastructure development. Locally, the huge public debt has narrowed down the fiscal space, resulting in a constrained rollout of large transformative projects. In this response, we must adopt a new mindset from dependence on aid to embracing trade. This must be a paradigm shift in the ministry and must resound to all and every stakeholder involved. This means proactively exploring innovative financing mechanisms, from the public-private partnerships to climate and impact financing to other co-financing models with direct beneficiary engagement. Blended financing can help de-risk private investment, while ring-fencing infrastructure development funds ensures priority sectors are protected and sustained. The issues of governance and unviable tariffs are classical in this sector. The average water revenue collections in most water service providers fall below the cost recovery levels. This way, the way forward is very clear. We must entrench performance-based funding and deepen governance reforms to drive efficiency and sustainability in service delivery. And tariff reviews need to be viewed objectively, devoid of politicization, while at the same time remaining realistic about affordability. That is a conversation that must be held in this conference, and it also must be held outside this conference. We need to develop water tariffs that are cost recovery. The sector is therefore proactively responding to provide solutions to the many challenges. The ministry acknowledges not only the support offered by our development partners, but also the immense contribution of the private sector that has acted in various capacities and contributed towards the realization of the right to water and decent sanitation, which is our main constitutional call. Ladies and gentlemen, invited guests, today's conference, which is convened courtesy of joint partnership between the Nation Media Group and the Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, brings us all together with the objective of fostering mutual understanding between the government and all stakeholders in water, sanitation, and irrigation sector. As the CEO has said, the media today is our friend. This will solidify the existing partnership we have. Therefore, paving the way for collaboration in sustainable water management solutions, which is the key theme of this conference. As mentioned before, the ministry is committed to meeting both the national and global development targets that pertains to water, sanitation, and irrigation. And in this respect, the ministry understands that the plans developed and the strategies laid out to meet these objectives would, as a matter of necessity, require a multi-stakeholder approach to assure its success. I therefore take this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome you all to take our rightful positions and move the water, sanitation, and irrigation sector forward as a team. The clarion call is, let us engage, let us collaborate, let us get feedback, and also let us take criticism. Because the ministry cannot do this alone, but together as a team, we can provide clean, safe water and sanitation, and also contribute to our food security agenda through irrigated agriculture when we work together. Kiswahili tunasema umoja ni nguvu na utengano ni nini? Ni udhaifu. Thank you so much and welcome all to this conference. Asante sana.
All right. And thank you very much, Bwana CS. Would like to get into a panel discussion. Please do not leave the stage. I'd like for you, yes, right here. I'd like for you to please take this microphone. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for Bwana CS. We're now checking into our first panel discussion, and that includes the government development partners and commercial banks. Now, as I take my seat, let me introduce our panelists one by one, apart from the Cabinet Secretary, Eric Muga. Please help me welcome Hel Gasho from UNICEF. He is the Chief of Wash and Climate, Tumpigia Makofi, as he joins us. We also have Mr. Tobias Omufoko from Wash Alliance Kenya. He stands as the country coordinator. A round of applause for him as well. Mr. Sam Baya. Sam Baya is a public-private partnership expert. Sam, asante sana. Naomba tumappreciate tafadhali. And finally, we have NCBA from NCBA. Robert Kiboti, he is the Director, Commercial and SME Banking. A round of applause as he joins us. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so Bwana CS, we're just trying to take a look at the sector overview, and of course my first question would come to you, and this is from a few numbers that I picked up from the economic survey that was released on Monday. The number of water purification points, those are the WPPs, is projected to increase from 376 for the year 2023-2024 to 380, and additionally the number of boreholes drilled increased by 2.9% to 47,199 for the year 2024-2025. So would you say that this suffices? There you go.
Okay, thank you. Please. First, we need to appreciate what is the mandate of the ministry. And the fact that water is a constitutional right, economic and social, it means the ministry has no choice but to provide. In the process of doing that, we are bound to do some programs, and thank you for the nagabas that we've given. But apart from the last mile part of connection, because those are last mile projects that we've actually talked about, we also need to understand that water is a devolved function. The ministry provides policy. The ministry also builds the bulk infrastructure. It does not mean that we don't actually do the actual service provision, because we also support counties in doing the last mile parts of the responsibility. However, the bulk of the work by the ministry is bulk infrastructure development and actual policy development. Please.
All right, well, it's only fair then I follow up with this particular question. The total development expenditure, again, from the Economic Survey Report for 2025, so the total development expenditure on water supply and related services is expected to reduce by 4.1% to 64.3 billion shillings for 2024-2025. Also, the funding for rural water supplies is expected to decrease by 24.3% to 5 billion in the same financial year 2024-2025. So how will the sector achieve the said goals with all these budget cuts?
Yeah, we acknowledge that challenge, and that is why we are here also with development partners. After understanding that it is a right, and you have talked about the rural areas that have actually suffered reduction, with our agency, the Water Sector Trust Fund. The Water Sector Trust Fund is one of the ministry agencies responsible to support provision of water and services to the marginalized communities, and in areas where that provision of water is both socially and economically feasible, but financially it is not feasible. So it means the agency and also the ministry, we have to put our efforts to actually attract development partners and minimize the over-reliance on government funding. To that effect, we have developed two very crucial documents. We call it, one of them is the National Water and Sanitation Investment Plan, NAWASIP. We have also developed NISIP in the State Department of Irrigation. That is the National Irrigation Sector Investment Plan. These two have highlighted the resource we need to mobilize from development partners, the resources we need to mobilize from public-private partnerships, the resources we need to mobilize by co-funding, that is apart from the national government development. That is our only sustainable way to ensure that we continue providing high-quality services despite the budget cuts. Thank you.
All right, so Hale, with the information that has been laid on the table, maybe we can now look into what type of what sources of funding go into local water projects, and what contributions do you make or have made thus far to the sector?
When it comes to local water service provision, which, as I said right now, because at the grassroots level, it is the responsibility of the county to actually provide that. The same thing with also irrigation. The moment we do a community irrigation scheme, we expect counties to develop what we call county integrated irrigation development units, CIDUs. The investment that we have made so far, we have increased water access to around 73%. And that figure is reported annually by the Water Sector Services Regulatory Board.
Right. Thank you, Bonasias. Thank you for that answer, but I was actually directing the question to Hale Gasho.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, though. Thank you very much. So, Hale, if you'd like for me to repeat, so with everything that Bonasias has laid on the table, what sources of funding go into local water projects, and what contributions do you make or have you made thus far to the sector?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm here also in the behalf of the Development Partners Group for the water sector in Kenya. The development partners in Kenya have been contributing quite substantially on the water sector, from financing direct projects, as well as also implementing programs in the county level, and also supporting the government in the counties also on system strengthening and capacity building at different levels. We have different kinds of partners who are contributing, the financing, the banks. We have international financial institutions who are mainly engaged on direct program project support. And we have also multilateral programs for which include the UN, the EU, and others who are directly implementing through civil society groups or county governments. And we have bilateral donors also implementing programs by themselves and directly with the government. I don't have the specific figures from different partners. We are compiling the investment squads currently and also in the pipeline, and the future we'll share with the media and also with others. But there is a substantial funding and financing. But still, the NOACIP funding gap will continue. It's an ambitious plan, and still there's a financing gap.
Well, thank you very much. I'd just like to let the room know that we are currently live on NTV and across all our social media platforms. Now, as the conversation continues, Sam and Tobias, what is the role of development finance institutions in catalyzing a private investment? Just switch it on.
Thank you very much. One of the institutions that we participate in is Sanitation and Water for All. And this is a partnership led by the government and the Ministry of Water, where there's a mutual accountability mechanism, where partners come together, the development partners, the CSOs, the private sector, learning institutions, they all come together, and the ministry sets the agenda and gives us priority of the ministry. Then each of these partnerships account themselves on how they contribute towards those agenda of the ministry. And we review this every quarter. Like even yesterday, we were in Machakos reviewing what have we done this quarter. So it's us accounting to each other, the ministry accounting to us, CSOs accounting to other partners, the private sector, and also learning institutions. How are they contributing towards the ministry's agenda? And then also we go further and say that we again score ourselves. How have we done? For example, in policy this quarter, what have we done? And how are we scored in that? So these are mechanisms where we account to one another as a ministry, as development partners, as CSOs, and also as learning institutions. So it's a very unique way of accounting what is your contribution towards the minister's agenda on development.
Thank you. Tobias?
Thank you very much. The name is Baya, so I think that's why I was unclear. So the role of development partners in terms of providing financing, it varies. And there are quite a number of areas where the development partners have been engaged and continue to be engaged. One is in clearly identifying the gaps and the resource requirements. And secondly is in terms of replicating global best practices that have worked previously elsewhere into the Kenyan water sector. I'll start off by probably stating what's working for us. What's working for us as a country is that the PPP enabling environment is present. We have, from the policy level, the PPP law, in terms of the institutional development housed within the PPP Directorate, that is currently existing. We have a PPP Project Development Fund, and this is a model that has been used to advance PPPs in other sectors, energy, transport, and so on and so forth. So coming to the water sector, I think the role of the development partners would be in basically supporting the ministry and the institutional agencies within the water sector to better align to the PPP framework in terms of building the capacity for project preparation, identifying opportunities for private sector participation, not just PPPs, but private sector participation across the entire value chain, from storage, water distribution, last mile connectivity. When you talk about PPPs, sometimes you'll think mainly of large infrastructure projects. We've heard here this morning that the levels of non-revenue water at 43%. What are some of the solutions that have worked elsewhere in terms of non-revenue water reduction in collaboration with the private sector that we could help implement? So basically looking at the low-hanging fruits based on success models, taking advantage of the enabling environment that we have to advance private sector participation in PPPs. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And Robert, clearly funding is of importance for the sector. So what are some of the initiatives that NCBA have taken to ensure seamless access to funding? And maybe you can also mention to us what products do you have to offer the sector?
Thank you very much. I think if there's one sector that NCBA has taken very seriously, it's the water sector. And to support the sector, what we've done is we have 100 branches spread across the country, and each one of these branches has a trained relationship manager who focuses on specifically on this segment. So what we've done is we've partnered with water.org, a global organization, NGO organization that has supported us immensely to develop capacity and also be able to train RMs on water and sanitation aspects. And so with this regard, we've then gone ahead and co-created products that just focuses on this segment. Remember, as bankers, we do not have the expertise, so to speak, on how to handle this segment, and therefore, with the support of water.org and their engineers, we've been able to train our RMs what to look out for and how to be able to assist private sector and business people who are trying to venture into this segment. So what we did then, as we were developing this product, we also realized as bankers, we may not have some nitty-gritties on how to structure those products. So we structured those products that then serve this segment with bearing in mind that we needed to address the specific challenges that the sector faces. So as a bank, that's what we're doing on the network, and then complemented by the RMs who are already trained on these products. Thank you.
Okay, and with that said, I'd like now to throw it back to you, Tobias. Maybe you can help us expound on the innovative financing. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's expound on the innovative financing. Innovative financing mechanisms such as green boards, results-based financing, impact investing.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's a blend of models that have previously been used and some that are relatively new. When you talk about climate finance, for instance, there is an opportunity in the sector, but we need to be able to carve out that opportunity and show the value proposition to the private sector. The CS spoke about tariff reforms in a manner that ensures affordability and also cost recovery. That is one of the areas, and I'm aware that the government is currently undertaking the tariff reforms for the water sector. So this is a good, it's a good move in the right direction, meant to provide clarity in terms of the expected revenues that would be used to support some of these approaches. Another opportunity lies in blended finance, basically bringing in public resources, concessional financing, and financing from any of these areas that you have outlined. There is an opportunity, it has been tried here in Kenya before, albeit in small scale, to structure blended financing mechanisms that bring in resources from some of these financing sources. And moving forward, I think the challenge or the request to the government is basically to think about the limited resources as we've just had. How do we best leverage this, and in what manner to attract what financing? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, as I ask my last question, and as you answer this last question, I'd also like for you to give your parting shot. What do you vision is the future of water sanitation, irrigation sector from your own capacities, and what policy frameworks do you think should be put in place to support the sector? I'll start with you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think as a parting shot, I would say one of the things I'd mentioned that we have done is co-creating products that are relevant to the segment. And we recognize that one of the most critical aspects, like when it comes to people who sell water, for example, they do require to complement their power. And what we've done again on that segment is creating leasing products, leasing for solarization of those projects, so that then we can be able to reduce the costs, their running costs, so to speak. So this then we've done it through asset finance, because we also do have BOZAs which would normally supply water. And we've developed a product on asset finance that can be able to support those distributors, and made it very easy for them with a TAT of 15 seconds from submission of the documents. You get a conditional approval. And that has really, we've seen a big uptake of that, and it's been very supportive. So we pride ourselves as a bank that are seeing us going into the future, supporting this segment in a big way, in a recognition of what the role that water plays in our lives. Yeah, thank you.
Mr. CS, maybe you'll come last. Haile?
Thank you again. I think Kenya has quite advanced policy and regulatory frameworks compared to with the peers in the region and the other countries in this continent. However, I think the implementation and enforcing the policies and the regulatory framework, I think that is where we need to focus. And the other challenge we see is also recognizing the challenges in some parts of the country where they are by far behind on water and sanitation, and specific policy and strategic framework to support those locations who are by far behind, because the same criteria may not be fit for everyone, because it's quite diverse. And I think that's to identify policies which can support the locations which are by far behind on the water sector. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. For me, it's about collaboration and partnerships. And I'm saying collaboration in the water sector as a whole, sector, going beyond the Ministry of Water, taking on board Ministry of Health, Environment, and other ministries at that level, and then partnership with us, other sectors, the private sector, the CSOs, and also accounting to each other. Let's have much accountability. So what are we contributing towards what the ministry wants us to do? That's important for us as a sector. And then let's leave no one behind. Let's not leave the counties behind as we talk about it at national level. Thank you.
All right. On my end, what I will say is that, like I said at the beginning, let's take advantage of what we have, and let's clearly identify the roles of the different players within the water sector. Starting off with the utilities, let's identify the low-hanging fruits in terms of making our utilities achieve cost recovery, reduce water losses, and operational efficiency through private sector participation. Let's also bring in the National Treasury and the government at large in terms of aspects on viability gap funding. What are some of the aspects that need to be in place for the projects that we are structuring with the intent of engaging the private sector to be viable. Once we have these markers in place, I believe we should be able to operationalize something that helps us achieve the sectoral goals and objectives. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Buenos dias.
Okay, thank you so much. On policy, I think we have just finished doing the water sector regulations, that is the water services, water harvesting, and also the sector regulation generally to actually breathe life to the water. Sanitation management policy is being discussed at parliament level. We have given some comments that we're incorporating as sanitation efforts. Some that were domiciled at the Ministry of Health, some are in the Ministry of Environment. This is an interministerial kind of policy to actually have them under one roof. As we've noticed, sanitation has lagged behind, basically because sanitation was formerly not domiciled at the Ministry of Water. It has been moving from one ministry to another. But now we need to understand that whenever there is clean water, the result of that is wastewater. So our investments going forward is, especially on mushrooming towns, is to have a component of water project that must incorporate a component of sanitation. On funding, and I will thank development partners with us here today, we have become very vocal. First of all, we have formulated the vehicles to actually attract funding in form of NAWASIP and NISIP. Secondly, we have engaged development partners to also help us look at how best can we position the ministry to attract private financing through PPP. We have a framework ongoing about that. And we are also engaging our development partners and other private investors through banks and other institutions to see how best they can support on matters funding to achieve 100% access by the year 2030. However, because of our geographical positions, we find we have two key challenges. One of them is non-revenue water, and that I talked about the water police. I talked about operations in Nairobi, Eldoret, Kericho, to actually disconnect illegal consumers. We are moving towards smart metering as a ministry, and we are also moving towards proper management by building capacity, not only at the ministry, but also at the devolved unit, that is at the water service providers, that is via support from different development partners. But also we have the challenge of power. That is very pronounced in the coast region because of the topographical situation. And now we are having solar farms solarizing most of our water supply units. And all this comes down to financing, and that is why we are positioning ourselves to attract financing from different sectors. May it be climate finance, may it be PPPs, may it be blended financing, may it be concessional loans, may it be grants, and inclusive of the funding we get from the exchequer, so that we actually achieve that vision. Thank you so much.
And thank you very much. A round of applause for our panelists, including our chief guest, that is Cabinet Secretary Eric Muga. Now, as we appreciate them, let me remind you who they are one by one. We have Gahel Gasho from UNICEF. He is the Chief of Wash and Climate. A round of applause for him. Thank you very much, sir. Tobias Omufoko from Wash Alliance Kenya. He stands as the country coordinator. We have Sam Bayer. A round of applause. Thank you. Samvaya, public-private partnership expert. Thank you very much for joining us today. And finally, from NCBA, Robert Ekiboti, Director of Commercial and SME Banking. Gentlemen, we appreciate you and appreciate you sharing your information, actually, for lack of better words. Now, I'd like for us to rise as we pose for just one classic picture, and I'd like to invite our group CEO to please join us on stage. The Water Conference has officially been launched. Thank you very much for joining us. We're just going to take a quick picture. And for gender balance, please allow me to join them, right? Okay, for the rest of our panelists, please let's go down. We get down. Group CEO, kindly stick with us, Mr. Udundo. Nombo Kainasi Tafadhali, together with the CS. Bona CS, please. Please, we start to present for him a lovely gift. Thank you. As the Nation Media Group, we do appreciate the Ministry of Water and Sanitation and Irrigation. Asante sana. Thank you very much. Okay, so we are going to take a very quick break, about maybe 15 to 20 minutes before we embark to our next panel discussion that is going to be taken, or rather driven, by my colleague, Michelle Ngele Odhiambo. So a very quick coffee break. You can visit the booths outside, the exhibitors, take a quick trip to the washroom, and then we shall be back in the next 15 minutes. Thank you.
Have a seamless system.
Actually, if I was ever getting into any position of parliament to become an MP, one particular bill I will introduce is you cannot speak on the pulpit.
Mariam is shocked. Tell them, look at me now. Look how much. Join us Monday to Friday, 6 to 10 a.m. and let's fix our nation one conversation at a time. The bottom line is Kenyans are earning less. When do you see SHA fully working from your own estimation? This is what I'm thinking, that in the next 6 months or so, we should have this.
Northern Waterworks Development Agency is one of 9 waterworks development agencies under the Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation that is covering a northern part of Kenya. We are really working very hard to plan for all those sub-counties, all the counties, to make sure that we have water supplies in our towns. We are attending this conference to share our ways of doing things and also share the projects that we have that are lined up and also encourage other stakeholders.
Reach your audience instantly and make a lasting impression with Nation Sema. Affordable bulk SMS at 0.3 Kenya shillings. Own sender ID for 10,000 Kenya shillings plus 10,000 free messages. To sign up, please call 0728434979 or email us on mkibunja@ke.nationmedia.com.
Yes,
else I'm asking whether you can give me the ruling so that I can start kifungo mapema.
Two infidels.
Sikuwahi kumuona tena. Hiyo ingine nilikuja kumuonea Juja police station.
A meticulously planned murder.
Hiyo mwili ilikuwa imekatakatwa. Ilikuwa imetolewa kama meno matatu manne.
An attempted cover-up.
Gari ilikuwa imekwama. Nywele haikuwa. Ilikuwa tu nywele tudogo ile venye ilikuwa imesukwa imebaki hapa nyuma.
A harrowing tale of love, betrayal and the quest for justice.
Aliuawa kinyama kusema kweli.
Killing My Second God on Murder Teams. This Thursday at 9:30 p.m.
Sensodyne gives you long-lasting protections against sensitivity. And people come in and they're like, oh, it works. I can have ice cream and I'm not in any discomfort. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.
Water Sanitation and Irrigation Conference that is coming up on Thursday, that is on 8th of May 2025, is very key to the ministry because we are first looking to have a dialogue with our development partners, and we're also looking to engage the public to get their opinions and input on the programs that we are actually doing as a ministry. That feedback is very key to streamline service delivery and ensure efficiency as we carry out our responsibilities.
Show me the letter that you have of my mother.
I asked you a question first. Who do you think you are to enter my office like this?
Don't change the subject. You are going to show me that letter.
What makes you think I would accept money from that woman?
You're really selfish.
Me?
Yes, you.
What kind of man are you? How dare you speak about my past?
And you. Why couldn't you have done so? My entire life is a mess. All of it. I don't love Alma. But I can't leave my child unprotected. I just can't. Because it's not in my nature. She's my daughter.
You are the one.
Since 2022, the irrigation status was 664,000 acres. Since then, we've added an additional 83,000 acres, which has now brought us to 747,000 as of December 2024. And that's why we are talking about creating market linkages. We are talking about supporting the farmer with the extension services through the working together with the county government. We're inviting all stakeholders. We're inviting individual Kenyans who have land and who are also looking for job opportunities, because irrigation, water, and sanitation has many great opportunities and job opportunities.
The truth is not governed. The truth governs our beliefs, our faith, the trust we give, the democracy we seek. When held back, it always breaks free. Seek the truth. Set yourself free. Subscribe to Read online at epaper.nation.africa. Daily Nation, the truth unfiltered.
Tana Waterworks Agencies is among the 10 water agencies in our country. The agency main objective or role is to ensure that there is access, quality water and sanitation in the area of coverage that comprise of 5 counties. And I want to take this opportunity and welcome all the stakeholders, the government bodies, the institutions, come together and work out on proposal that will ensure that we give our citizens better services in terms of water and sewerage.
NTV, turning on your world.
6.
Viper Entertainment.
It's DJ Zeddy.
coming. Here I come, Miss Dahlia. I seriously can't with Miss Dahlia. The way she orders us around, she sounds like the Wicked Witch of the West Wing.
Rose, is Coach George in his quarters right now?
And what business do you have with Georgie Wargie?
Rose, back to your post.
Ah! Give me a break! Yes, coming. I'm just finishing something. I'll be right over. Oh, I'll go ahead. I really have to go. George isn't here. I think he's at the clubhouse. Okay? Bye-bye. Oh dear, oh dear.